you had to play against two of the best that have ever done it, in Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. Not many people have been able to go head to head with them like you have. If I was going to ask you to break it down, like the difference between Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods, what would you say?
Well, I mean, we're talking about two different eras here. They both managed their ball incredible. They were both one of the longest players of their time. Uh, Big drivers, both of them. Great long iron players. Middle irons, short irons. I mean, probably, Jack. I would say Jack's pitching the ball and chipping the ball weren't in Tiger's league. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
He hit the shot when he needed to, but what Jack did so well is he played into his strengths and away from his weaknesses. Tiger did that as well, but Tiger was fearless. I'm not sure that he would lay up as much as Jack did. Jack was an unbelievable three-wood player. Three-wood's not even in the game anymore, and I've done a little bit of designing, and I've worked with a couple of guys, and three-wood's not in the game. They don't have shots where you use three-woods anymore. And Jack used three-woods all the time for a thing called position. Nobody thinks about position anymore much off the tee.
Yeah, it's become pretty one-dimensional. Just hit it as hard as you can and go find it. But staying on the Tiger Jack thing here for a minute, Hal, like the two biggest wins, or two of the biggest wins in your career, you held off Jack at the PGA, at Riv, and then you got the best of Tiger Woods at the Players, head-to-head with him. Do either of those wins carry more weight to you than the other?
I get asked this question all the time. Not really. When I beat Jack early on, he was my idol. So to do that as a young boy growing up, I watched him on TV and I tried to emulate everything that he did. My dad used to say, we'd watch him on TV and he'd say, if that's good enough for Jack Nicklaus, that's good enough for Hal Sutton. And so to beat him was a dream come true. And then Tiger in 2000, everybody was beginning to think that he couldn't be beat. And, at TPC, his distance wasn't the factor that it could have been somewhere else. So I felt like I had him on a place that was point A to point B to point C. And at the time in 2000, I was doing that as well as anybody. So I wasn't fearful of Tiger. I felt like we'll figure this out tomorrow, I'll tell you this about Tiger. The one thing I always say about Tiger, he's the only guy that I ever played golf with that did not fear where the ball was fixing to go. He knew he had the next shot. And he's the only guy I ever saw play that way. Everybody else, they knew what their strengths were, they knew what their weaknesses were, and they were, like Jack, played into their strengths and away from their weaknesses. They got into a spot where their weakness, they had to showcase their weakness. They didn't intend to be there. They did something wrong to get there.